My clutch just went out, as you can see. So I'm going to try to drive around without one. 4th gear. 3rd gear. The trick is syncing up the engine speed with the speed of the drivetrain. Never jam it into gear. That'll ruin the transmission. Greatly shorten its lifespan. Upshifting is much easier than downshifting. Because when you upshift, you can just let off the accelerator and easily slide the shifter into the next gear, whereas when downshifting, you have to rev the engine a little bit to get the engine speed up to where it needs to be to get into the next lower gear.
We're coming up to a bridge, so now he's gonna have to do some fancy footwork. Here we go.
Also known as downshifting. So we're in 4th. Oh, I'm gonna have to stop here and let these other people pass. So we're gonna have to start off from a dead stop, which is tricky. So to do this, we'll turn off the engine and put it in 1st, and then we'll just start the engine with it in gear, and that'll get us moving. So 1st gear, 2nd gear. Just gotta let off the gas and then push it into the next gear. So I'm in 3rd, 4th. When upshifting, if you just let off the accelerator and put some light steady pressure on the shifter, it will move into the next gear. Oh, here's a red light, so luckily it's downhill, so it'll be a little bit easier to get going again. So we'll turn off the motor. Put it in 1st. Okay.
Here we
light.
go.
So now I'm going to have to shift down from 4th to 3rd. So I'll let off the gas to get out of 4th and then rev the engine slightly to get it into 3rd. Just barely flutter the engine a little bit with the accelerator to try to match up the engine speed to where it needs to be to let the gear shift change. Here's about a sharp 3rd gear corner coming up. There we go. Don't be bashful about trying more than one gear. If it's not slipping into the gear you want, try to go into another one. It's just a matter of matching up the engine speed with the speed of the transmission. 3rd, 4th. fifth. Just make sure to keep light, steady pressure on the shifter. That way when it does match up, it'll slide right into the correct gear. Kind of nice that we had this camera in the car when this misfortune befell us. Coming up to a sharp corner, I'm in fifth, so I need to downshift quite a bit. I'm in neutral now. I think I'm just gonna coast through. Whoop. And then got it into second there. If all else fails, you can always stop the car, put it in first, and then start the engine with it in gear just to start over. Coming up to another stop sign. I'll take this opportunity to just take the car out of gear and turn it off, and we'll coast into town here, into the stop sign with the engine off. This would be tough in stop and go traffic. Might wear out your starter or battery. So now we'll slow to a stop and get it into first gear again. And start her up. Get going. First to second seems to be the toughest gear change. The easiest, I think, is fourth to fifth, so the higher gears are easier to change into. The sound of grinding is bad. Try to avoid the sound of grinding. So going around this corner, I'll have to drop it down into probably third. Fourth, next third, don't be afraid to lug the engine a little bit. This works a lot better if the engine RPMs are low. There it is. Second gear. Uh-oh. What? Slight error. So we'll start over again first. Second. Third. That was pretty good. It was able to start even on an uphill slope. Hooray!